Guys, thank you for watching the show. As always, please, if you can, go into the description. There is a Patreon, there is a Locals, there is a Cash App, a PayPal, and a Buy Me a Coffee, Kofi, Kofi. Those are all ways that you guys can independently fund this show so that I am not beholden to YouTube, Spotify, Rumble, etc. The vast majority of you guys do anywhere from $1 to $3 a month. It makes a world of a difference. There's 12,000 of you guys on YouTube. The show runs on 5 grand a month. My goal is to get away from Rumble, Spotify, YouTube in terms of being beholden to them so that the show is kind of invincible and can just keep going. So a lot of you guys have joined. Right now the show is making like $1,000 a month just from all the little donations. My goal for the end of the year is to get it up to five because that's how much it costs to run. So thank you. And if you want something in return, you guys can go to the description. Sport Drink sponsors me now. Promo code Tommy's Podcast, and there's the link in the description. Heaven's Harvest Prepper Food. They've been sponsoring me for a couple years, and now Volt Athletics. My buddy JD Strecker. If you join the Patreon, you can get a free consultation on getting a workout plan tailored to you. So, yeah, thank you so much, guys.
Okay, we are live. Hi, this is William Ramsey. Welcome to William Ramsey Investigates. On today's show, I have a very special guest. This is the first time I've had him on my show. I've been on his show. I can't believe it. I was looking through my Spreaker page. This will be our 12th show, I think. But we've done a couple recent shows. His name is Tommy of the Tommy's Podcast. If you're watching this on my 3 YouTube channels, which I actually have 4 or 1 I can't get into. But if you're watching this on my 3 YouTube channels, X or Rumble, you'll see his YouTube channel, which I think he got back recently, so you can go check that. I'll put a link to it. You can subscribe. He has a great podcast. He has a lot of great guests. You can see this on here. I was looking through some of his recent stuff. James Kunstler, Tom Wongo. I was on with Dave Collum recently. Dale Comstock, Susan Kalinda, who I listen to on my social media, Emerald Robinson, who I've followed for a long time. Just a lot of different great guests and stuff like that, so you can check it out. But we've done a couple shows recently. I don't know, he's titled them differently than mine, but mine, when I titled them and posted them, was the first one was Jeffrey Epstein's Cup of Abominations, and then the most recent one was Global Conflagration, because it really has this whole Epstein drop that happened on January 30th. It really has gone global. You know, people are getting arrested. There's criminal, things happening. Some in the States, actually. There's one that I read of in New Mexico. So at least some of the states are taking action. But this is not stopping. My social media is blown up. People really want to know about this information. So we're going to talk about some stuff today. Probably the most unpleasant stuff imaginable. So I would definitely put an NC-17 warning and not listen to this at work without speakers or around young kids, because that's what we're going to talk about. It's going to pertain to the civil litigation aspect of the Epstein files, maybe not the, FBI files or stuff that pertain to him with Bannon or some of these other major characters, Gates. COVID is a huge aspect of the Epstein files, but this one are in these drops, these litigation files that are recent. That's what's really crazy about these files. To my knowledge, nobody's really gone through them in detail, so we're going to try to go through and read some of the stuff. They are not, I think they're in the public domain. I think because of the congressional laws that pertain to the Epstein Files Transparency Act, these were all published. These are great lawyers too. I have high praise for all these lawyers other than Alan Dershowitz, but all these other lawyers who are plaintiffs' lawyers are doing God's work. So I commend them outright. And I'm not going to focus on victim names or really the lawyers as much as the testimony or the information that's garnered there, which really contradicts this whole story by Kash Patel and Bondi, that there's nothing to take action on because there's no statute of limitations. There's no federal statute of limitations on abuse of children, and that's putting it lightly, under 10. And for a lot of other things, and the state laws are a lot different. I don't know the actual details of each different jurisdiction and state-wise, but federal stuff is easy. This is not complex either. So this is really kind of black letter simple law, but we're going to go through all this stuff. So, Tommy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir.
For people who haven't heard your name or haven't heard us talk, maybe you can talk a little bit about your background, how you got started, what you've been doing, and we can go from there.
Yeah, sure. I'm Tommy Carrigan. I'm 35 years old. Will's been on my show 10, 12 times. Done almost 2,000 episodes over 6 years. Started the podcast in December 2019. Graduated college in 2013. Spent 4 years trying to get into med school. Got into med school. Decided I didn't want to do that, and then just kind of had 6 years of not knowing what to do. Leaving out a huge part. A couple of weeks after I graduated college, my older brother committed suicide, and that and the life crisis of not realizing I didn't want to be a doctor was two life crises at the same time that probably should have been taken separately. But kind of just spun out of control for 6 years. Moved on with my parents. Didn't have a good 20s. Started the podcast at 29, and immediately COVID started. Got banned from YouTube and iTunes. I mean, every Facebook, Twitter, websites I've never been on before, Twitch, for interviewing Dr. Malone and Dr. McCullough. And then kind of just built the show over 4 years between 2021 and 2025 on Rumble. And then out of the blue, got let back on YouTube in October. I was like, all right. And then got monetized in November and was like, all right. And now I'm making more on YouTube than I was on Rumble. So I look at that, and I think you do as you and I are on the same page, and kind of just God will provide. And that's probably the biggest part about this podcast is it's, aside from all the cool stuff and people I've talked to, it's brought me back to Christ, having been raised Roman Catholic, and then became an edgy atheist at like 14, and finally came back to Christ in 2020. And it's I suppose being back with God, being sober 2 years, just doing the right thing is probably all good, because I don't think we'd be able to cover these sort of topics if I had whatever baggage that I was carrying. Everybody, I'm not trying to say what was me. So, interview people from all walks of life. I really just try to have a good time. I like having on people that I disagree with. Just to me, it's interesting above all else. And and lastly, I'll say this stuff is near, as it is with everyone. It's near and dear. Everyone was a kid at some point. If I can plug ARC, the Association for the Recovery of Children, it's these former special forces guys that started in 1993. It's a nonprofit. They rescue about 12 kids a year from child sex trafficking. And this isn't an awareness thing. This isn't, they do bake sales. These are former special forces guys that go and physically rescue kids. I mean, kick down doors with guns and night vision, and physically rescue kids. And the founder, Basil Baz, as he always says, 12 years not much, but it means everything to those 12. And they've been doing it for 33 years, and they directly deal with victims of satanic ritual abuse. They rescue them. And that's why, and Will, you've been so kind as to share that link, I think last week. A lot of people are kind of spiraling, and they feel helpless, and they oscillate between there's nothing to do and I need to go grab a gun and be a vigilante. And I'm like, both of those are incorrect. You can do something. You can do something as little as donate $5. That's the main thing. If this podcast ends tomorrow and I die, the cool thing is I think I've been able to, with the help of God Almighty, get more of a spotlight on ARC and the unbelievable good. They're doing more than the FBI is doing on about 1/1000th of the budget. Actually, no, way less. Their budget's $300,000 a year. 1/1000th would be 300 million. FBI gets way more than that. So about 100,000th, probably say what, 30 billion a year for the FBI. So I'm gonna stop rambling, but that's what I want to get out of my podcast and this show is go check out ARC, the Association for the Recovery of Children. You can make a difference. It's not helpless. It's not hopeless. You can make a difference.
Right. It's the ARC, the Association for the Recovery of Children. I'll put a link in the show notes so people can check that out.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I posted something about that on my. I'll try to keep posting it. I need a nonprofit to promote it, especially at these times, because you're right. People do feel helpless or overwhelmed.
They've never asked me to plug it. I plug it at the end of every show. I've got a little thing at the very end. It's you really. I've interviewed the founders, I don't know, 50 plus times. I got a fundraiser thrown for them in November. I went and met them. And man, these are just guys who are just rooted in Christ and just they're rescuing. It's very rarely do you find something that is so black and white. And it's just these guys who they don't even take salaries. They just, I mean,
Putting their skill set to use. Yeah.
yeah, and they go into other countries. They go into cartel towns. They don't, it's not a walk in the park. These guys they're doing the Lord's. I really just can't say it enough. They're doing something, and you guys can help them.
Right on.
Thank you for letting me have the soapbox.
Yeah. So check all that stuff out. I'll try to put links to everything at the end of the show once this goes out on podcasts and stuff like that. But we talked about the last show, Juarez and things like that. Like it gets really dark, and this is going to get dark. Yeah. Like this whole story of Epstein is like, oh, they're just Lolita Express. It's much worse, guys. This is super dark stuff. A lot of these guys are getting on TV and lying. So, I mean, we can just get started. This is one of the documents that I sent you this morning, which is really incredible. I mean, these are like, I'm going to show 4 documents so we can just get started with this. But this is a document from 2019. And it's sent to Alan Dershowitz, who's all over the news these days, you know, claiming innocence. But I think the tell of this one document is the fact that, this is sent to him like specifically in Miami Beach by Federal Express. So I'm assuming that he's seen this story, and it's just a litany of like just a whole tale of just abuse and brutality. And this is a lawyer. It's Daniel Kaiser. New York. But I mean, do you want to read that first paragraph, Tommy? Can you see that?
It's a little fuzzy, but yeah, the history my client shares with your client Jeffrey Epstein is hands down the worst case of sexual depravity and misconduct I have come across in my 27 years of representing victims of sexual assault and harassment. And it's sort of content that makes the blood boil and the stomach churn of any decent person. In short, your client raped Miss Blank when she was a 14 to 15-year-old girl. To be clear, it is not just that Miss Blank was underage, really a baby at the time. This is rape. Miss Blank was forcibly and violently raped by Mr. Epstein. The consequences to Miss Blank, since her experiences with Mr. Epstein, have been severe. He stole a chunk of her life without regard to the horrific damage he was inflicting. A summary of Mr. Epstein's sick and extremely harmful conduct, including the rape of Miss Blank, is outlined below.
And they like got her as a student. Like, I don't know how if you want to read this whole thing, or it's this is a 7-page statement, but it's like she was raised by a single parent. She was 12, and he continued. She was a prime target for grooming by a pedophile like Mr. Epstein. At age 14, she entered high school. She was a freshman. After school one day, she was approached by a brunette woman in her early 20s on school property. The woman, who we shall refer to as the recruiter, tried to befriend her. She asked where she lived, where her parents were, if they were together, if she was born. Like this is like the classic grooming, prequel, testing stories. This is how scary it is, because we talked about Life Touch last time too. So people who don't know Life Touch, like Epstein was definitely. He was investing huge amounts of money in Shutterfly, which owns Life Touch, Life Touch is the company that takes pictures of the high school kids. I mean, this is just incredible stuff. But it's just the reason I brought this one up is because this pertains to, and look at this. The recruiter said that Epstein is a caring guy, and he said she should not be struggling. He wanted to be there for her. Like, how creepy is that from what we know right now?
Yeah, that's one of the things Baz talks about is, people always like to make simple assumptions of like, why don't they run away? We're looking at this as adults. They're kid and younger, but I mean, as high school, they're impressionable. You go and you start messing with their head, and and I want to help you, and they can be, Baz said that you can be trafficked and raped for 10 years, and the guy can beat the snot out of you, but he will also make sure occasionally to remember your favorite food and the women start to. It's a form of stock. It's not a form of. It's Stockholm syndrome. It's the epitome of evil. It is cartoonishly demonic.
Yeah, no, it's really bad. But yeah, I want to see like this person has the actual street address, which is 9 East 71st Street, New York, New York. Because the next documents will show this is the mansion, known as the mansion. Which, if this one isn't disturbing, the next one is just blow your mind. Like it's so freaking bad. Instead, during her first time at the 71st Street home, he showed her a trophy room as she entered, filled with taxidermied animals that he had allegedly hunted over the years. The home was massive. Huge entry door was in the middle of the city block. And upon entry, one would walk up a set of marble stairs. To the left, there was Epstein's secretary's office with a waiting room, couches and chairs. To the right was a trophy room filled with hunted animals. I can't find any evidence that he ever went hunting. As one kept walking forward, there was a spiral staircase with a self-portrait of Epstein on the wall with a young girl. Do you want to continue reading from there? Can you see that? The miss?
I don't know. Yeah, no, I can, yeah. It's a little fuzzier from, but I got it. On Miss Blank's first visit, she recalls Epstein giving the recruiter a gift, a digital camera. The recruiter then said to Miss Blank, you see what I mean? He's such a nice guy. Epstein then gave Miss Blank $300 on this first visit, and said, here's a little something to help you out. I take care of people I care about. He told Miss Blank that he was a big AIDS activist, which meant a lot to Miss Blank at the time because blank, blank, blank. After an hour or two, Miss Blank and the recruiter left together.
And then within a couple of days, the recruiter reached out, made a great impression. There was no harm because the house was only a couple blocks from her high school. And at this point, he had done nothing to her to give her pause or cause her concern. So they literally are predating a local high school in central Manhattan. It's just so sick. Epstein's home with the recruiter about once or twice a week for the first month. Wanted to help her out. The recruiter would serve cheese, crackers, and wine during these visits. After a month about making these visits, Epstein's assistant began contacting directly and scheduling arrangements for her to visit Epstein's home alone. At this point, during the first visit alone, Epstein showed his massage room. Do you want to read from that? I don't know. It gets really dark, but it's basically just this whole groomer thing, it's just so creepy because this is like on an industrial scale. So he basically he's almost like training these kids and then sending them out, if that makes sense.
Well, I was about to say, it's very clear that, well, not only that, it's very clear that this is standard operating procedure.
I think you're right.
It's I would imagine, like you, right? I've gone on people's shows where it's like their fifth show and it's very obvious it's their fifth show. I go on with you, I go on with other people that have podcasts, and you've got your whole thing, you got your whole rhythm. Hey, I'm going to start the show. It's very clear this is your thing. Same with me, right? It's very clear that this isn't the first time they're just approaching a girl. They've got a system down pat, and then furthermore, it's fleshed out. It's in, they probably know exactly what to do, the whole gift thing, and then they're getting, and what are they getting them ready
for? Love bombing, like a cult, right? Like
cold and then you're sending them out into the world, the clients, and he's pre-packaging them. He's doing the groundwork. This is what war is. It's shaping the battlefield, intelligence operations, things you do beforehand to try to guide the chaos that is war. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, it's really crazy. Epstein said that he loved her and cared for her and was going to look out for her, and it was okay, and that she should just climb on top of him and try something different. All of a sudden, in addition to constituting illicit sex, this is to Dershowitz. This is a legal document, so I'm assuming Dershowitz and his whole squad knew that this was a thing. So when Dershowitz is out there today in February denying or prevaricating or distancing himself, these are standard things that people involved in criminal behavior do, is they distance, minimize, deflect, and omit. But it's just incredible because he knew all this stuff. In addition to constituting illicit sex with a minor, there's also a brutal rape. To describe Mr. Epstein's conduct as monstrous is, of course, to understate how evil he was towards Blank. Despite having raped her, he said she was amazing and she felt amazing. She did nothing wrong. She's disgusted. She then just dropped out of high school. So this is the traumatization. This is part of the thing. This is not. I don't think this is the South Florida house. Maybe it is, but at the time, he told her mom reason she was being bullied at school, so she was like lying about it. So you just see this kind of like thing. Maybe it is Florida. I think it's New York because Kaiser's in New York. But as a consequence of the repugnant criminal behavior outlined above, I will be filing on behalf of my client a summons and complaint at the New York State Supreme Court, alleging sexual assault, sexual battery, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and negligent infliction of emotional distress. She's entitled to both compensatory and punitive damages. A punitive award may legally account for Mr. Epstein's extreme wealth. So these cases are out there. I mean, that's really my point. And they have all Dershowitz's like freaking addresses and stuff like that. Like, it's just absolutely crazy. But because I mentioned that mansion right there, I know Tommy has a kind of a limited time, so I'm trying to get through these.
No, dude, take your time, man.
But here's the other one. This is really an incredible one. I'll try to tell you guys the Epstein Files Transparency Act number is 000-78198. I think you can still find this on there. And this is another one. This is to Audrey Strauss. If you remember, Audrey Strauss she kind of took over after Jeffrey Berman got fired. So it's I guess there was a shooting this morning in Rhode Island. I'm not aware of that. But this is also fairly recent. This is November 10th, 2020. And this is another one. And this involved, Marsh is an advocacy law firm for abused people involved who were involved in child porn. So this is their kind of specialty, the Marsh law firm. And the woman's name who is, which I wish I could, Jennifer Freeman's been on the news recently, so she's around. So this is another interesting one, but this is really brutal, guys. Really, really brutal. Do you want to read this one? I travel to New York. Do you feel like reading that? Can you see that?
Yep. Blank traveled to New York, blank with her parents and brother soon after she turned blank. Her passport visa, which we have a copy of, confirms this. Her parents and her brother went to Atlanta seeking treatment for blank, leaving blank with foster parents, quote unquote, Mike and Sheila in Brooklyn. Blank does not think that these are their real names. She believes that Sheila's real name is Barbara Levine. She's unsure of the spelling and the vowel sounds. Reported that her foster parents sexually abused her and trafficked her to others, including at quote unquote parties in a fancy rich house in New York City. There's evidence that suggests the fancy rich house was Epstein's New York City mansion, and that Epstein and Maxwell groomed and sexually abused blank at the house. Yeah, he had that $57 million, like, the mansion is putting it very lightly. I think it was like a 3-story apartment in Midtown Manhattan that he was gifted by Lex Wexner. This wasn't it's crazy enough to have, if you can get an apartment in Manhattan, hey, you're doing well. This was an upper level, triple story, balling out, like, Gilded Age thing.
I think it was 12,000 square feet, so it was just humongous.
Yeah.
But I mentioned the address.
Midtown Manhattan. Yeah.
Yeah, but you want to continue? This is just incredible stuff.
Yeah. Blank described the owner of the fancy rich house as someone with curvy hair on top of big fat eyebrows. She heard him called Jeffrey. She recalls massaging him with oil and being abused by him. He wore suits, or when he wanted to engage in sexual activity with him, he wore a towel. Yeah, I read a book called The Spider about Epstein and his network by a guy named Barry Levine. Sounds like, not to slander.
Is it worth reading?
I had him on in 2021. I liked it. I had him on the show, and he's pretty adamant that Epstein killed himself and that he wasn't an asset, which at the time, maybe you could pull it. It's pretty impossible to pull that argument. It's a great book, though, on the history of Epstein, Dalton, and everything. It's a fantastic book. The conclusion is very Cash Patelli, but if you can just ignore the end of it, it's a very good history. I'll give that to him. It's a very good history on Epstein. Blank also remembers a woman at the fancy rich house who seemed very important and in charge of the house. She was tall, thin, and with short, dark brown hair and brown eyes, wore suits and other sophisticated clothing, and spoke with a British accent. I mean, it's Ghislaine. I remember, Blank remembers the woman standing on the big stone staircase inside the fancy rich house, sometimes wearing yellow. Blank said the woman's name had an N in it. Ghislaine was something like Lane, and maybe longer. Blank said that Lane said that her Blank's eyes were similar to hers. Yeah, so I mean, she's describing to a T Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
Ghislaine Maxwell. Maybe we can go to description to kind of get away with some of the lurid stuff.
Yeah.
Do you want to start with description, or do you want me to read it?
Yeah. Show me where you are at the cursor.
I'm just right at the thing where it says blank description of the fancy rich house.
I thought you were saying okay.
I just want to show that this information's coming into civil people, and you'll actually show later on in these documents. They're talking. This is to Audrey Strauss. She's talking to the head of the Southern District of New York. This is a federal attorney.
This isn't high school gossip. Yeah,
they're sending it to bigwigs. Like, you don't. If you're a lawyer, you don't send this stuff.
No,
that's fake. You get disappointed.
No, you don't. No. Huge
Blank
description of the fancy rich house matches the location features of the Manhattan mansion owned or controlled by Epstein in 1997. She said that rich fancy house was located at 9 on 71 Street in Manhattan near the Big Park. Epstein's mansion was located at 9 East 71st Street in Manhattan, just east of Central Park. She said that the house was at least 6 stories, off-white in color, with many bedrooms and a large arched door with a scary man on top and 2 smaller doors on either side with women on top. Epstein's mansion, the largest single-family residence in Manhattan, is reportedly 7 stories, off-white. 7 stories. We were not even close. Yeah. Off-white, and has a large dark brown arched door, front door with a male gargoyle above it and a female gargoyle on large windows on either side with doors below grade. Blank reported a large chandelier with a large adult doll on it, many photographs of important people. This is consistent with media descriptions of the house furnishings. She also said that around the house there are images which were like scribbles or abstract art and images of body parts, such as a photograph of a female's buttock. She also remembers pictures of important people in suits. Yeah. According to Blank, there were many girls at the fancy rich house with Jeffrey and Ghislaine. Most of them were older than Blank. She reported that bigger girls were placed in certain rooms at the fancy rich house, with younger girls, such as Blank and another young girl named Blank, were placed in other rooms. Sheila told Blank that it cost more money to be with the younger girls like Blank and Blank. At the parties, she saw Sheila interact with Maxwell in a very friendly way, indicating that they knew each other and attended such events together previously. She believes Mike knew Epstein as well. So these are in Epstein's network.
Yeah, it's the network. Bigger network.
Yeah. Brutal.
This picture is cut from really hardcore CSAM stuff, but it shows that they're saying that outside this window, across from the mansion, is what's known as the Frick Museum. So they think that these attorneys could see the Frick Museum outside the window where this evidence is. This is evidence. Like, they're showing like this whole horrible stuff. Blank said last year, soon after started opening and disclosing the abuse to a new therapist, started receiving on her phone photographs of her abuse and other frightening images. The therapist has confirmed that she told no one except Dr. Silberg what she disclosed. About the same time, Blank foster father Mike, who's continued to contact her over the years, called saying if she discussed it, this is another thing, the foster father is involved or seems to know. The abuse would continue. She believes that Mike and others delivered the images to her as threats to keep her quiet and perhaps to cause her to hurt herself. Blank provided the images, many of which depicted childhood sexual abuse, to Dr. Silberg, who understood they were illegal to process and promptly turned them over to Blank. So the doctor's like, whoa, this is really bad. I'm turning this over. 2 of the images sent to Blank, which Dr. Silberg reviewed and forwarded to, were of a girl resembling Blank being raped by an adult male on a turquoise couch. Believes that this rape occurred at the fancy rich house. Dr. Silberg has reported that one of the 2 images show a window, perhaps with a dark mullion behind the adult male, and the vista beyond the window of an off-white building and trees. Here's a cropped, non-sexually explicit portion of the image, showing the upper torso of the man on the couch in the window. The vista appears to correspond with what might have been seen from a mullioned bedroom window on a high floor of the room in the front of the Epstein mansion. You can see that picture right there. That's how tall the Epstein mansion was. Looking south over the back of the Frick Museum or another limestone building on the south side. Here's a photograph of the exterior or upper floor windows of the mansion, showing dark mullions in the upper floor windows. All this information was sent to Audrey Strauss at the SDNU and somebody else. It's blanked out. It also shows that somebody at the Department of Justice blanked this out. Like, why would they even blank that out? Like, what does it matter? Like, only you blank that out if you're covering it up, in my opinion.
Yeah, complicity. Yeah,
right. Like,
that's
why
all.
wouldn't you just say where this went to? Because somebody's like in trouble. Like, whoa, somebody at the DOJ is like, what if they find out we actually had this evidence of a criminal act? Like, the Epstein files are just like almost like an encyclopedia of criminality. Like, it's off the charts. Transporting kids.
Not just that, it's also
the
it's not just, I mean, the crimes themselves are obviously beyond horrific, right? This, not to say only, but this isn't only rape. Again, big disclaimer, not to say only. This isn't only rape, and it's not only underage being 17. This is absolutely brutal rape and torture of children. And then not only that, I wouldn't even say the banality of evil, because that implies some sort of innocence. This is just the outright covering up of, on the legal side, just brushing it over, don't touch it. Yeah.
It's a huge cover up. And this whole redaction thing is a complete joke and really scary. I used to have a picture of the outside of the mansion. I'm trying to find it, but it's really imposing. Like, the mansion itself is creepy because it has a gargoyle right over the door when you walk in, and it's very distinctive, I think. But here's a 2009 Google map, street looking west, Central Park. Epstein's mansion is on the right side, so this includes all these photographs. There's the Frick Museum, so they're out the window. Law enforcement with access to the two original images regarding the young girl being RAPED on the turquoise couch and other information may be able to sharpen the images, examine any metadata, and compare them with known information to confirm whether the vista out the window in the photographs matches the view of Epstein's mansion. In addition, images, recollections, of unreported details of the mansion could be compared with the attributes and contents of the mansion, including whether the house contained scribbled abstract artwork, images with body parts, or a turquoise couch of an upper room floor. This, I mean, they redacted all the stuff, which is probably good because it's the victim, but still, this is just incredible evidence. In order to compare the victim in the image on the turquoise couch with blank, here is a family photograph on a return flight from New York to Israel, wearing headphones and leaning against what looks like an airplane passenger seat. The photograph shows significant injury to her face and neck. She has injuries. And they show like them flying back. LL Travel, 1994. We also have a document comparing her face when visible in the porn images with pictures of her from childhood to help substantiate that these pictures are of her. We are happy to share that document if desired. Several of the pornographic pictures have her full face in view. These are criminal acts. It's just absolutely crazy. This is like a contradicting this theme that I've repeated in multiple shows, is that they just want you to think they're teens. And this is another one. While media stories have stated that Epstein and Maxwell's victims were mostly teenagers, there's evidence that suggests they also abused younger girls. Jean-Luc Brunel reportedly provided Epstein a birthday gift of 12-year-old triplets. Epstein victim blank stated in the Netflix documentary Who Killed Jeffrey Epstein, episode 2, when she worked as a receptionist at the New York mansion about 1995, many girls, little girls, were always going in and out. A phone message slip referred to Russian lessons from 2 8-year-olds. And an expose from Australian television said that Epstein sought girls the younger the better. And then people have been reading this like wild, like I talked to you, used the word wildfire last time we were talking, I think, or the time before. And this bottom little section right here, people are seeing this and repeating it and reading it into the record. And this is from this, what is it? Where's part of that center? I can't even see it. Anyway, it's just absolutely insane. Like the abuse. Do you want to? I'll read it. Girl, face visible, looks prepubescent with medium-length dark hair. Several Caucasian men are holding the girl's legs. There's blood, photograph, round imprinted symbol of some kind is visible on the girl's leg, so they're branding him like Nexium.
I was going to sit here. I'll read it if you don't want it. No, and
you want to read the whole thing? Go ahead.
Yeah, this is why I tell people don't look away from it. It's one thing to watch a movie with gratuitous gore and go, yeah, it's not for me. This stuff is real, and the feeling you have of I don't need to hear it. No, you do need to hear it so that you know what it is. Because if you don't, all you're doing is hurting the victim. So the photo shows a girl, her face visible, who looks prepubescent with medium-length dark hair. Several Caucasian men are holding the girl's legs spread open. Her vagina is visible and gashed, and there's blood coming out. In the photo's foreground, a man with a white shirt appears to be inserting his hand or something into her vagina. A round imprinted symbol of some kind is visible on the girl's left on the underside of her left thigh. In the photo's right-hand corner, there's an arm with a green shirt visible. An arm holds the girl's knee in the air. In the photo's left foreground, there is a profile of a man with long sideburns, a beard, and a small bald spot on his head. In the photo's background on the left, there appears to be unclothed top torso of a man. A man with what appears to be a black t-shirt and a blue shirt appears to the left of the girl's face. On the photo's lower left, there's a green structure, which is hard to identify. The girl's mouth looks bloody, and her tongue is extended. There is a bruise under her left eye and a red mark on the left side of her neck. Her left shin is bleeding, and there are purplish bruises on her abdomen. Blank recalls the actions taking place with an additional image. Yeah, no, so it's they're this is not only rape. This is brutal torture. This is right. Aggressive, and even this, compared to some of the other stuff, is like pretty light.
This is what they released. What is in the other 3 million docs? Wow, must be just crazy. Yeah, these are really vicious, and it actually confirms some of the stuff that you see in this artwork of Balenciaga. Like this weird one where the girls have the bruised eyes.
Yeah, the panda eyes. Yeah, and then
just came right out of what you just read. Like
and the Podesta brothers, they have all that artwork. One of them has the statue of one of Dahmer's victims. It's called the Arch of Hysteria. It's a decapitated man, and he's completely arched backwards. His head is like at his feet. Yeah, this is evil. There's no
evil, perverse art, and stuff like that.
There's no kind of framing it as, it was a different time. It's not you look back in the 1950s and it's like he hit his wife, and it's like that's objectively not right. That's also kind of what the 1950s were. It was a bunch of guys who just fought in Iwo Jima, and sorry, they weren't the nicest guys to their wives. It's not that. It's not looking back 150 years ago and being like, listen, man, it was slavery. It's just what it was. It sucks. That's not any of this. This is outright, and I would go so far as, and I don't know, and I guess I can't legally slander, that they would do this regardless if she was willing. I think that's part of it, is the power, the domination, the infliction of pain. This is pure evil.
Yeah, it's pure evil. It's total evil. Did we talk about the slaughter of the innocents last time? The deviant art that he had? I don't remember. I don't think we did.
I don't recall.
See, because you brought up this whole art thing, or the arts showed up.
Arch of Hysteria, yeah.
The Arch of Hysteria, that's right. This is like Pizzagate and the Podesta brothers, like you mentioned, right? So Epstein is into this deviant art. He likes this guy, Miguel Serrano, Serrano. Are you familiar with that name?
No, I was going to say that I think you like him too. I think you've met him, Tim Dillon. Because this is how I got.
I talked to him. I've never met him personally.
Oh yeah, but this is how, actually, ironically enough, through a fat comedian, is I listened to his interviews in 2017, 2018 with Nick Bryan, Russ Baker, David Talbot. But he recently said, so he just did an episode on Epstein like a week or two ago. Tim has since made it in the comedy world. I think he's the highest paid person on Patreon. He's got millions now, and he goes, I have some art, and it's stupid. It's kind of tacky. It's like lower wealthy people. It's like a sports car. No part of me has anything that is remotely like this stuff. You don't walk past it every day and go, that does kind of look weird. Why do I have that? These are people that they chose to have this in their home, either because they get off on seeing it, they get off on the power of flaunting it, and a visitor seeing it. they get off on this stuff, man. It's how many pieces of the puzzle do you have before you go, they are Satanists?
Right. Well, we can just do a little I mean, it's not really a detour. It's an important part of the story is this, what I would say, deviant art. And this guy, Miguel Serrano, did the covers for 2 Metallica things. It's all body fluids, which is like really Crowley stuff. And he was promoting something with art made with blood. And so this is like what he was into, but he also, this is Rubens' Slaughter of the Innocents. And he really wanted this in the entryway to the really creepy Zorro Ranch. So he commissioned his little sidekick, Sarah Kellen, to get a 9x9 version of this. So fairly sizable, like a really big picture of the Slaughter of the Innocents. And for people who are listening and don't know the story, I will quote Matthew right here, which is what it was. And it's then Herod, when he saw that he had been tricked by the wise men, became furious. He gave orders to kill all the boys in Bethlehem and its vicinity who were 2 years old and under, in accordance with the time he had learned from the wise men. Then what was said through the prophet Jeremiah was fulfilled. Quote, a voice is heard in Ramah, weeping in great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children and refusing to be comforted because they are no more. So this is what he's focusing on, like this stuff.
But even this is like the least worst painting I've seen of the stuff in these people's houses. Because like even this, it's like it's historical. This is an objectively beautiful painting. This is very talented. Whoever did this, right? It's got very Renaissance-esque feelings.
Right. Yeah, I think
this is like the nicest thing. If you've seen some of the stuff in the Podesta's houses, I mean, the art style itself is eerie, but it's not even. You could argue that piece. You could, if you really want, you could argue he's just a history buff. It's not a good argument, but you could. The stuff in dude, it is everyone's seen. I hope everyone's seen them. It's a bunch of little girls, their hands bound above their head with paddle marks on their asses. It's it's kids, gray and pallor, covered in grass and like in a shallow pond, clearly corpses dumped into a pond. Like, dude, it's kids crying and their skin's all red, clearly from being smacked. Like that Slaughter of the Innocents is like.
It's nothing, but when in conjunction with all the other art that he's collecting, he's on par with Podesta's, in my opinion.
Yes, this is just in conjunction. If I had that painting, I would say like hey man, it's a whatever, it's a it's art piece.
Right. But here it is. This is from 2010. Like, thank you. We'd like to proceed with ordering the 9x9 by 5 size of Massacre of the Innocents from 1591. What is the best way to send you payment? So money isn't an offer, isn't an issue. Or it doesn't seem to be an issue. I guess it cost them $2,000 or something, but they wanted it shipped out there. Here's another thing that I found that was part of Epstein's art, among a lot of different art. This is one of them. You want to talk about Podesta stuff?
There you go. Yeah, this stuff.
Little kids on display, like they're under lights. They're under like LED.
But even this is like compared to the other stuff. If you really wanted to, you could say this is like a Norman Rockwell painting, like first swim meet. There's still a level that you can kind of make this work. The stuff in the Podestas, there's no wiggle room.
Yeah.
There's no way. If my grandparents had that, they had a ton of Norman Rockwell stuff. I would think it's a Norman Rockwell thing. You'd be like 1960 summer meet or something. But you're right. In conjunction with the rest, it's evil.
Yeah, this is another one. Another thing that I found out today is that here's another piece of art here that actually was disclosed. This is from I want to give credit where credit's due. It's from James O'Keefe. I don't have a choice of giving credit because he stenciled this smartly, because people rip off other people's research. So the journalist career is pretty rough. I thought lawyers were rough. People will just lift your stuff without a credit. But here's another one. If you see on the right, this is in one of his kitchens. And I think this is called Shrimp Cocktail.
Yeah, man.
And it's a little baby. Like, who puts this up on their wall? It's a little
No,
baby
and
holding it's a kid's toy, but
the
it's a little
toy,
odd.
phallic shaped.
Yeah, and then there's like a drawing up above too, so it's like a violation of the kids too. It's like
Yeah,
a
but the
violation
kid's
of
in
the
a
innocent.
sink, and is that dark water or is that blood?
Well, I don't know. I don't even. I don't. I wish. I hope it's not blood.
That picture is only acceptable, not in that size, if it was 2 inches by 4 inches, and it was of the first grandbaby, and grandma had it on on her fridge. My grandma had, us
Baby
running, me and my
pics. Yeah.
brothers
Yeah.
when we're two and we're running around, and it's like
Right.
that is when that's acceptable.
What I also found out is that he wanted to purchase kind of an infamous sculpture piece by Rodin. Have you ever heard of Rodin?
No.
You ever hear of the Thinker? You ever see that guy with his fist like
Yeah,
this?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
kind of the famous pose
Okay.
by a French artist called Rodin. And he also wanted to purchase this very imposing piece by Rodin that's called The Gates of Hell. And I'll show it to you right now. So, like, this is like looking at it, all this mix of this dark art, but this is The Gates of Hell here. It's huge. It's a huge piece. It's probably 10 feet tall. And it's in the Rodin Museum. Let me see if I can get people to see. Yeah, there it is. Is that intense? Imagine putting that in your house or your, somewhere. Like the literal gates of hell.
Yeah, man. It's
well, let me see. It probably says how tall it is here if I can go to Wikipedia. Auguste Rodin. I don't know. But yeah. So anyway, this is Epstein. This is just the beginning of what we're finding out. It's going to be as bad as Bethesda. Doubt it not.
if this is what they're telling us, man, it's pretty obvious that there is no darkness that hasn't happened.
Yeah, the worst of the worst, man. The worst.
I mean, and you and I, you know me, I'm a conspiracy head. By no means am I like new to this stuff. I mean, I didn't go to prom. I was reading Legacy of Ashes about the CIA. Like I've just always loved this stuff. Even me, I've always assumed up until really, I guess a couple of years ago, I was like, no, Pizzagate's BS. I'm like, listen, these are evil people like a Dick Cheney, and they've done evil things. They'll knock over countries, kill 5 million people for profit. I'm like, I'm not trying to excuse that, but there is a system of lawful action that they undertake. They like women. I'm sure they have sex with underage women, money and all that stuff. But there's a logic to it. You see it. It's not right, but you're like, I get it. They knocked over Iraq to make money and they lied about it and they probably did 9/11. I always thought things like Pizzagate or satanic ritual abuse, I always looked at that as like, no, you're making them like too evil. Like they only do evil to achieve their ends. And all that stuff seems kind of superfluous. I have been taken aback. And like I said, I was reading Pizzagate in 2017, 2018. But even then I was like, I still, that almost kind of seems like disinformation. I have completely eaten a slice of humble pie. There is evil for evil's sake. I always thought that, it always comes down to like, oh, well, it's money or it's a this or it's a. No, dude, this is evil. This is pure, unfiltered, the depths of hell. There's some quote that the mind cannot comprehend the depravity of Satan. It really is. It really is.
I totally agree with you. It's hard to people believe. Like they have this view of Crowley, like as somebody who studied Crowley pretty intensely 15 years ago, they just can't comprehend this thing. Like he's literally eating bodily fluids and everything's inverted. So like he calls the Black Brotherhood, like those are the priests, like the Catholic priest or the Christian priests. So a Christian would be like, the Black Brotherhood, are you talking about Satanists? No, he's so inverted that his view is like the Christian church is the oppressor, right?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
what these people are like, I think. The Christians are the oppressors, so therefore slaughter of the innocents makes the most sense, and it comports with some of the stuff of what I think he might be up to, which is just like brazen human trafficking and incubation and stuff. And then the intimidation, it kind of ties in, like you had a lot of those kind of eyes wide shut motifs, and the intimidation and the watching is a component of Eyes Wide Shut and the Epstein network.
Mm-hmm.
They're following everybody. They seem to enjoy it. Oh, I call my PI to talk about Virginia before I call Trump. I literally posted that yesterday. So they're keeping an eye on Virginia in 2011. And they're exchanging all the new books that come out. Jeffrey's keeping tabs. There's a whole 170-page document in the Epstein files from Jeff of all of the articles that happened around 2007 or 2008. So somebody, probably him or somebody close to him, compiled everything that was written about him, whether it was Vanity Fair or stuff like from the early case, and it's there on at the ready. So it's one of these kind of overlapping things. It's just like, whoa, Kubrick was really distilled, and all the creepy art that's in Eyes Wide Shut and stuff like that, it comports with Podesta and Epstein. And all and the network of creepiness, and Balenciaga, which I call Balenciaga, Baaal.
Yeah, it's
and one of the interesting things is like something that happened from Pizzagate all the way to the present is this woman Rachel Chandler, and she's in the Epstein files. So she was all the way back on Lolita Express with Clinton. There's a picture of her, and then she's like involved in Balenciaga, and then like somebody's like calling stuff into her because she's at the far end of Long Island, excuse me. Long Island, like I think it's, what's the name of that city that's all the way over there? I think it's Amangasset or something. I don't know the name of it. I'm not from the East Coast. It's closer to you. But anyway, it's just a weird kind of connection. Anyway, you want to finish off this document? You want to start with there appears? Can you see
there
that?
appears to have been and continue to be a connection between some of the perpetrators and Ukraine/Russia. Blank has provided us with 2 phone numbers. She was instructed to call to connect to her traffickers, which has been confirmed to us by Deliver Fund, Mike Fullilove, to be located in Ukraine, which resolves to a mobile number in Ukraine, and Blank, which resolves to a landline in Ukraine. For example, on September 3rd, 2019, after one of the traffickers had arranged through one of the Ukrainian phone numbers to see Blank, and Blank did not show up, Blank received the following message. The English translation for the above message in Hebrew is, "Garbage, where are you, where are you, where are you, we are waiting, at the train, come." Note there's a number at the top of this message which might be traceable. Yeah, Blank has continued to be threatened with phone messages about what would happen to her if she disclosed the abuse. For example, in August 2019, Blank received a message on her phone depicting a mutilated woman with a message in Hebrew. "This is what will happen to you if you talk, so be quiet." The sending number on her phone was Blank.
And do you remember the message that was given to Bill Halford in Eyes Wide Shut? He was given a message, and it's like a warning, like, hey, shut up. And this is like the exact same thing. Let me see if I can find that picture. It's really something else. He's handed like a message from some dude. He's being walked around, or he's like walking around a city. Oh yeah, here it is. Let's see if I can get this up. This is from Eyes Wide Shut. The parallels are just off the charts. Do you remember this note he hands him? Do you remember that sequence?
Yeah, vaguely.
I forgot what it says, like "go away" or "don't bother me" or something like that. I forgot what it was. Let me see if I can find a better version of that. Yeah, so the intimidation, the following up, and all that stuff.
And that's, I mean, if we can just put on our psychopath hats for a second, it's the right move. If you're a psychopath, you're right. You're intimidating them so they don't talk. I think there's a component, though. I think that's they like it.
Yeah, I think so.
I think they like it. It's if they're willing to rape a girl, hold her legs open, and beat her. Yeah, man, they clearly get off on the projection of power and the instilling of fear.
Yes. Traumatization. They're all traumatized. And that's like, I think, a thing of the Satanism and stuff like that. It's not like we're respecting the human person, the whole person, but it's like we're trying to, destroy it. We're trying to get into the psyche and destroy it and do all that stuff so that person will be more compliant, right? So if they're traumatized, they'll do what they're told. So I think that's part of the grooming, right? Of the abuse. That's the process. Is like, okay, they're just going to give up their own free will. So, yeah. When blank thinks about what happened to her, it's very hard for her to talk about the abuse. There you go. See, they're afraid of talking about it. Some parts of herself that appears little children can remember more than others remember. She does remember the house, Jeffrey Lane, Mike, Sheila, some of the abuse, and some of the names of people in the house who abused her. This is classic, like amnesia, dissociation. They're talking about other parts of herself. So maybe they impose this dissociation stuff on that. She does not watch the news, does not know about any of this from television or news shows. Silberg told her that there was news about it, but she said she did not look at it. Blank stated any memories she recalled were from her own mind and memory not from any other source. So that goes into this whole false memory stuff, of which this woman is involved in this from the False Memory Syndrome Foundation.
Yeah.
I've forgotten the name up. But like, that's so creepy because they like the people who say, oh, you're having false memories, boss. There's a storehouse of additional evidence about the abuse, including names of other adults. So there's more. This is the network, right? So there's a lot of people are nervous probably right now who are at the NYC mansion. Approximately 30 images showing the abuse of a girl look striking like blank, some of which include identifying features. We continue to work with other people. We suspect that some of the evidence we have may relate to caregivers happening to children. So it's not just this one person. There's other children being abused. Last year, we reached out to AUSA, advising them connection to Jeffrey Epstein, seeking visa assistance. So there's a lot more going on here, guys. There's just like, these are just incredible things, man. There's like, okay. We've gone through two different cases. We've gone through Kaiser is one of the attorneys, Freeman, and now we'll go to Christensen. So this is another case. This is all the civil litigation that's in here, guys. I'm telling you, it's like it's a tsunami of abuse. It's just so freaking sick. And so what happens in these cases, so they're civil litigation, they have to compile the information to bring a case, right? So they're in that process. And when they compile that, a lot of this stuff they're sending to authorities. We just saw that, right? They're doing their duty. Mm-hmm. I don't think they have a choice but not to send it. I think that would be they could be charged with something. I don't know what it is offhand. But like, I don't know if you want to read this. Judge Preska was involved in some
I can't.
Of this stuff.
It's too pixelated. I can't.
Okay. This is just this is Gene Christensen, but why is this important? I think we went over in our first show that one scrapbook. Didn't we do the scrapbook of the 16-year-old?
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of more of information on that one scrapbook of that girl and money problems and townhouses and the I guess the mansion is what they call it too. The allegations, and it's just really brutal. Credit card debt, like they're all buying them off. Handed her an envelope with $5,000 in cash. Said, "I hope this helps." She met Ghislaine Maxwell a number of times at the townhouse. Victim disclosed to a friend what happened after the fact. She's willing to speak to law enforcement. She's very concerned, so she's afraid, but she's willing to speak with law enforcement. This is from August 2021, right? Jeff Epstein's dead, August 2019. And then I think, I can't remember offhand when Ghislaine Maxwell got arrested. But this is like crazy stuff. I mean, where's this other one? Here's another one. I think this is kind of the same stuff. But this is the scrapbook is this one right here. see if I can find it. It's that one scrapbook where she's like saying, I've been abused, I've been trafficked. I'm 16 and where's my baby? Right? It's this one. I think I have two of them of the same case. This is the same compilation of the case that came. This is the kind of additional information that's in that case. The Christensen lawyer case. This is her scrapbook. It's really dark. Let's see if I can get this one out. I'm pretty sure we looked at this like a while back. Got 221 live listeners or viewers. Thanks everybody for joining us. We're at the hour mark. Tons of comments. I haven't even followed up on those. Okay, why can't I find the scrapbook? I've got screenshots of all this stuff. Yeah, that's really rough. This is an analysis of like that picture we saw earlier of the jerky, or the shrimp cocktail. Remember that picture, the little baby? Some Jeffrey Epstein
keep the body.
Yeah. Yeah.
What the?
On my island in the Caribbean with an aquarium full of girls. This guy apparently is under investigation now. Olivier Colomb, Colom. Could be wrong. As long as you don't have any hammerhead ones, I like white sharks. As to are Russian, I guess some might refer to them as white sharks. What does that mean?
Yeah, it's not sharks.
Yeah.
It's just like the billionaires aren't talking about pizza. It's what is it? Well, sure, we do have to find out, but I mean,
somebody's going to figure it out. Somebody's going to get it.
It's like how many puzzle pieces surrounding the thing can you have before you go, hey, man, we can reasonably assume
that this isn't it. There's a memo of him from the Zorro Ranch, and I did a show, and they're like, what if this like Zorro Ranch stuff is like all code words? Because Jeffrey Epstein says like kill them all. He says something to like his farm animals. Kill them all and save the horses so people can ride them. What the hell does that mean?
It's pretty obvious. Kill all the kids except for I guess the best ones, so that my clients can fuck them. Excuse me.
I mean, if that's the case, it's just so dark.
That's what. If I say that in an email, I don't have a farm. But I'm an innocent podcaster. You might be like, what is he talking? It'd be like if I said something to you like, hey, delete all the episodes except for the bangers. You'd be like, yeah, well, he does a podcast. That's not what this is. And nothing this guy does is about that. Everything. You can't go to try to buy the gates of hell and then say that and be like, well, I'm just a farmer. Like,
and he's mentioned like Ninth Circle and stuff like that.
Yeah, dude. It's
this, okay,
they've lost the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, it's like too late. Like there's too much information. Like there's
way too much.
This is John Brockman to Epstein. P.S. You missed the big event on Saturday, a party with a dozen beautiful East Side girls. Well, a dozen 1-year-olds.
Yeah, man. I mean, they need to be napalmed.
Is that real? Okay. Here. This you analyze this one. This is it. Stop. Like at first blush, I never would have figured anything else about this one, but it says to Sarah Kay, July 2011. Just wanted to make sure you guys knew Jeffrey Epstein told Wendy to get rid of all the quote show unquote animals on the ranch. The miniature horses, pigs, turkey, goat. Who needs a show turkey? Pigs, turkey, goats, Diablo, etc. Wendy said she will try and sell what she can. I don't think J.E. or Jeffrey Epstein much cares about what happens to them, as he said to just kill them. The only thing is we're keeping the chickens for the eggs and the horses which somebody can ride. Have you ever heard of the term chicken in like pedo kind of language? It means young kids. That's like a translation.
Okay.
So
again,
that could be total code words.
Again,
horses, whores, right? They play that same thing like Colum talked about grape soda, gang rape, right?
But that's the thing. Again, if Epstein's some like, you know, contractor for Cargill or Tyson and and he's just some dude out there, you'd be like, yeah, he's talking about his farm. That's what we're talking about. The guy who has all these emails, all these pictures, talking about raping kids. Like you've lost the benefit of the doubt. You can't. It's
Like,
you're
yeah,
not.
it's
Your name's not.
over.
You, I'm Bill Smith from Idaho, and it's like, yeah, maybe he really is just killing the animals. Like this is Jeffrey Epstein. That's a real. That's a real. That's a real farmhand's name, Jeffrey Epstein. That's a classic American West name, huh?
Right.
Got a 6-story mansion in Lower Manhattan. Yeah, he's a yeah. He's
What the
really
hell?
worried about selling off the cattle and killing the rest because he's really pinching pennies. Yeah,
What does he care about? Like, why does he have, if he has like real show animals at his ranch?
he
Like,
doesn't.
what is
They're
that for?
kids.
Even if
They're
it's real, let's say he really has a show animal on like a huge,
he might he might okay yeah
like he
eccentric
doesn't have
billionaire.
children. He doesn't have children, supposedly. So what the hell does he have a show ranch for? It doesn't make sense.
And I don't think you let
Somebody tell
show
me that
horses
makes
be.
sense.
I don't think you let people ride show horses. Am I wrong on that?
All right. Diablo the Devil, like one of their horses is named the Devil or something.
Yeah, man. It's
Just more code words. Like I think it is.
yeah.
There's like a yeah. Chicken is means like kid. And
yeah.
another thing. So this is like
How
mob
many
talk.
how many mass graves can you discover in like, you know, Iraq or Syria? At what number? The 100th, the 150th one? Do you stop asking Assad or Saddam if that one was also his? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
at what point do you go, hey, this was him too? At what point do you reach that? That's what everything we know about yeah, dude. And you know what? If he did have chickens, all right, then whatever.
Right. Crazy. There's like a crazy thing too about the Jean Bonnet case somebody's writing about because somebody thought they saw him with a picture of her. That's a stretch. I'm not saying that's real. But there is like Aspen is a small town. It's only 7,000 people, so it's pretty damn small actually. It's all, super high-end houses, rich people. And the weird thing about the whole John Bonet thing is that they were hanging out with this guy named Fleet White Jr. This is all easily ascertainable fact. Fleet White Jr. was there. They went to a party at his house, a Christmas party, much like Eyes Wide Shut takes place around Christmas. And then she gets abused and ends up dead, John Bonet. But Fleet White Jr. is the son of an oil baron. Like he's not just some normal guy.
Oh.
He comes from a very wealthy family. And there's other stories about him and his dad that they were kind of like, I'm not saying Epstein, but they had parties and they lived a lavish lifestyle, and they might have been into tastes that were not kind of middle of the road, so to speak. So, and the other weird thing about, I don't know if you know this about John Bonet, but the father of Ramsey was involved in like building airports and stuff. And he built an airport at this freaking island where like people would take young boys to like abuse them.
Yeah.
And then when Jean Bonnet died, the family went to this place called Charlevoix, which is the very top of Michigan, which is close to this kind of rape island, like a version of like Little St. James.
Yeah.
Is that crazy? Like there's so many strange things about Jean Bonnet that you just be like, this can't be real. I just cannot believe this is real.
Yeah, it's
and it's a darker world. It's so dark. And the other thing that connects them, which is even worse, is that the same FBI popped out to like go to defend the family. This guy John Douglas, who's also defending the guys in the satanic ritual abuse of the West Memphis Three.
yeah. I mean,
he was very much involved in like kind of obfuscating what really happened with the West Memphis Three. And then he's also involved with the family, John Bonet Ramsey. His dad, John Bonet Ramsey's dad. Yeah, that's it. So dark, very dark stuff.
Yeah, the idea that Epstein was the only. It seems like he was a pretty big player. I don't think he was a random guy, but I think it'd be pretty naive to assume that he was the only show in town.
Yeah, that's what they're really trying to impress upon the public.
That he was the only show in town.
Yeah.
I think that's probably that's the only thing that makes sense actually to release all this stuff would be what are you possibly distracting from? You know, everyone's like, well, what's bigger than this? Aliens. Right. No, I think it's to suck the oxygen out of the room and go, this guy, because why would they, you, me, and Dave talked about this. Why would they, what is the benefit to this? It could be it's just an emergent phenomena of just the rot of corruption. Could also be that this is how we steal the oxygen from the room of the 10 other Epsteins that are operating. So when you hear about the Bob Smith in Bermuda, or Tommy Carrigan in French Polynesia, you got no, that was Epstein. You're conflating them. It's Epstein.
Right. I mean,
but I still don't think that's why they're doing it. I actually do think it's, for the first time ever, I actually don't think it's nefarious that it's being released. I think it's either chaotic or, like we talked about, there's some other power source pushing it. There's really seemingly no benefit to them releasing this, left or right, American or Israel, or I don't know what it is. Could just be the monkeys and the typewriters given a long enough timeline.
Yeah, I don't know how much they know of how bad it is. Like, were they giving reports? Like, were reports being made to the administration or Trump about how bad it was? Like,
who knows? Maybe
he might not even, like, even if Trump's involved, he might not see the whole operation. They're probably supposed to be compartmentalized, right?
They 100% are. Yeah. Who knows, man? Maybe the guys at the APEC. I mean, who are the last fragments of that post war power structure? Bush Senior, you could probably argue Rumsfeld, Cheney. I mean, all these Kissinger. These guys have all kicked the bucket in the last 5-10 years. Those might have been the guys at the very top pinching the hardest to shut everything down. And kind of like trust fund kids, where every generation the work is less good and the integrity vanishes. It could very well be that they're just sloppy. It's just getting sloppier. I mean, that's what Tim Dillon always says. He's like, these are the trust fund kids of the deep state. If Dulles was alive today, he'd smack him and be like, what are you doing putting this shit in emails?
Right.
Dulles would have smacked Epstein upside the head, not because he disapproved of what he was doing. He would have been like, you write this on parchment and then you burn it personally. You putting in an email, you liked the torture video. It kind of makes sense, though. This is the trust fund kid plowing the Lamborghini into a mailbox, like high on coke. It's just, they're not dotting the I's and crossing the T's, and it's just a series of things, and it's,
This is a diagram of Epstein's cabin, Interlaken. I have stories of girls there from Interlaken. And then North Fox Island is like a notorious place, like where they would take boys and stuff. Brother Paul's children's mission. Like, when you ever see these children's mission, that's like a huge red flag. And then Ramsey's vacation home is in this place, Charlevoix. And then James' father involved with North Fox and Charlevoix airstrips. Like, they're building airstrips there.
Dude, like, they're trafficking and raping children. You're an attorney, so you're much more mature than me, where you're like, yeah, you have to have. I'm just looking at it like
what comes to mind? Child, you're trafficking. That's why you
come on.
That's why you go to that island, like, where nobody can find you. That's why
we're archaeologists, and we've been brushing the fossil for the last 3 days, and it's like 95% of it's the body of a T-Rex, and somebody's going, well, maybe the head is a dog, and it's like, maybe it is a dog, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a T-Rex. I'm pretty sure it's gonna maybe it has the head of a fish, maybe I'm like 99% sure that it's got the little arms and the tail. It's probably going to be a giant skull with fangs.
Right. I mean, it's just so bad. Here's a movie. This is Epstein coming back from Israel.
The last
after
time we
the
saw
first-
Jeffrey Epstein in West Palm Beach was September 6th of last year. He was getting off his private jet at PBIA to huddle with lawyers, fighting charges he used his mansion in Palm Beach for sexual escapades with girls under 18. Reliable sources tell us he'll report for a 1.5-year term in prison in Florida in June, then face a year probation. The fact that Epstein was allowed to travel to Israel reflects his vast business interests around the world, according to someone close to the case. But allowing someone soon to be imprisoned on felony charges to leave the country is highly irregular. That, according to investigative journalist John Connolly, who has covered the Epstein scandal from day one.
In most instances, people are facing criminal time, and because a plea agreement has been made or they're under arrest for serious charges, they are forced to surrender their passport. And apparently, Mr. Epstein has not been forced to do that.
The fact that the court ordered Epstein not to have contact with underage girls may indicate that Epstein will be labeled a sex offender. That is something his vast stable of high-powered attorneys have been fighting. Sources tell us that Epstein will likely report to a state prison with modern internet facilities so that he can do business from behind bars. It's been more than 3 years now since Palm Beach police started investigating Jeffrey Epstein. Reporter Connolly says money has bought him time.
I've always been a bit shocked by the way the state prosecutor has handled this case from the get-go. Historically, the police have asked for arrest warrants and been given them. In this case, because of apparently some very high-powered attorneys, they've treated Mr. Epstein much differently.
It's part of a network, man. That's why.
His extensive business ties is why he was allowed to go to Israel.
Right.
Now, if he was globetrotting, if he went from Hong Kong to Tel Aviv to Moscow to Britain, I'd be like, okay, you could use that argument. You went to Israel, yeah. It's highly unregulated, yeah, because he's an intelligence asset.
Right. He's going there to get his instructions.
We're
like, what to do next, guys? What am I supposed to do? You got to help me out.
Brushing the T-Rex. Maybe it has the head of a poodle. Maybe
this is one of the early. This goes all the way back to the 90s. This is part of the network. Trump and David Copperfield, who also has his own island and has had other allegations.
Yeah,
this one.
Trump.
Can you hear that?
New York and Southern United States, and our host here at the plaza, since he owns the place, the president of the Trump Organization, Mr. Donald Trump. Our last winner of the Look of the Year, and since she won, a model very much in demand from Holland, Wendy Velvis. From the world of entertainment, the Emmy Award-winning master magician, my friend David Copperfield.
I'm sure he's your friend. People have accused him of drugging them.
The president of Elite Europe, who coordinates the efforts of the elite offices on the continent, Mr. Gérald Marie.
Elite modeling agency, like all this stuff. Crazy. Just absolute craziness. Got any thoughts? I know that you have a 9 o'clock. Well, you have a 12 o'clock, right?
Yeah, I can go for like 10 more minutes. For me, the $100 quadrillion question is why we're seeing all of it. So, and I totally get people getting soaked up in the details because it's so insane, and I totally get it, and it should be. People should blast a spotlight on it. But I'm also why is it happening?
Why is it out? I think that they just didn't know the enormity of it. I think that, they had to get an idea. Like I said, I explained it with you and Dave, is like they got into office saying we're going to expose this stuff.
Yeah.
Talk about a list. Then we're realizing it. We're seeing all the documents. Then, hey, this is bad. Then there's nothing. And then the Democrats go, well, if you say there's nothing, there's probably something. And then they pass that thing with the assistance of Massey.
You know what it is? It's kind of like a
Transparency Files, Epstein Files Transparency Act.
It's kind of like a arcade pinball machine. Like no one person really, they're just smacking it away from them. No one person is really understanding that it's going to go dink, 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 and then hit jackpot. Everyone's going, wait, shit. I think it might be something like that where it's just, and it could also be that the people who well, I could use them as literal or just placeholders, but an H.W. Bush, a Cheney, a Kissinger, it could be that these higher up just quietly went to their graves. And it might really be that there are all these siloed, compartmentalized programs that no one even knew what the big picture was. Because if you're in a compartmentalized program, you also know enough to just not ask what the big picture is. If the big picture guys died, and maybe they don't want anyone passing this on, no one would really know that they are aiding in the disclosure of this stuff. They would have no idea. It could be that the highest up people quietly went to their graves. And you have
just
all these
took it
other
all.
people
Like they didn't explain it to anybody.
No.
Not getting a full assessment.
Exactly. There's no honor amongst thieves. They would do that to each other. They're raping kids. Yeah, they don't exactly have honor. Like, so it could be that no one person know. Like I was told not to ever talk about this stuff, and I was told not to talk about it. But you only know your little fiefdom, and it could be that it's just, well, that part's not mine. Yeah, release it. And then this part's not mine. Yeah, you release that. And then one by one, all these things come out, and it's all these puzzle pieces, and they're all clicking together, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" It could very well be that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's kind of in modern business administration, it's always, and it goes all the way back to like post World War II. It's all about compartmentalization to maintain power at the center. It's always like that. So the center monopolizes the information and takes all the information, but you only see your little part in accounting or marketing or sales, and you just shut up and do your work. And
then it's not just that. It also goes with classified weapons programs. That is the name of the game for things like stealth bombers. And it's not compartmentalized where you're like, I'm working on the wheels for the stealth bombers. No, true compartmentalization, you don't know what you're working. You might understand that you're working on a wheel, but you might think it's for, this is actually it's a futuristic ball bearing for a satellite. And it might have nothing to do with that. I mean, it's, again, I'm working on the wing. I don't know what the plane is. No, that's compartmentalization is you don't even know you're working on an aircraft. You're working on some new metamaterial that can withstand these temperature range. Is it for a drill bit? Is it for the head of a new bunker buster? Is it for a plane? Is it for a new transistor in a computer? That is true compartmentalization, where you go, I don't know. Most of the people that were working on the Manhattan Project, it's not that they knew they were compartmentalized. They didn't know they were working on it. Oak Ridge, Tennessee, all the that's real compartmentalization. As you go, I thought we were just making electricity for the local Lockheed plant. No, you were helping create a mobile star. You're like, what? I think that's
right. No, it's true.
Now that I'm realizing it as we're saying this, I think that's probably what it is. What if the guys at the very top of the Manhattan Project all just bit just bit it, just died?
Convenient, yeah. Then they knew.
And everyone released one thing after another, and they'd all be looking at it, and the people that released the stuff, they wouldn't even really know if the thing that they were a part of was the A. You'd be like, yeah, this thing came out as the A bomb, and as all the pieces come out, you go, wait, were we working on that? It might be that they did, because it's something so beyond the pale. And
it's probably the same thing as MK Ultra, right? none of the sub-projects knew the other sub-projects, right?
Honestly, God kind of has a sense of humor. Like maybe these guys just died before they sent the final, memo.
They didn't get rid of any of those documents. They're lying. Helms is lying, in my opinion.
That's what was my point. My point is, though, it's like, so I think you're right. None of them knew. None of them knew that they were declassifying the A-bomb. I think that's what this is.
Yeah, I think it's just like I've done shows, Tommy, about like pedo networks, but for boys. Yeah. And you start learning about the Candyman in Houston, Gacy in Chicago, the Franklin scandal in Omaha, Presidio on the West Coast, the island that I just mentioned, Plum Island, and then you realize there's overlaps, and so they're all networked. So I think that this is what this is just like a network. Epstein is kind of like the intro guide to the network, because that's what he's like. The integrates them into the abuse and then ships them out for money. That's what I think it is. And there's very big names. That one name that I mentioned earlier, Christensen, this is another disturbing document from her thing. And it's like, background is critical to her case. It took months for me to build up trust. It was not until Thanksgiving she finally told me that she took directions from her adoptive mother. Horrifying this is. Everything that had not made sense to me suddenly fell into place. She was forced to perform sexual acts with adult men since she was very young. So, like, these people are networking. It's like, if you see the end of Eyes Wide Shut, that little girl, Helena, is taken off by the old men. And I think that Kubrick must have known something like that was going on. And this is what this girl, and it goes to lead families. They named this guy Dana Chasen, who's literally a Rockefeller. Yeah. So it's super elite. So Epstein is just a front guy for these super rich, even richer guys behind him.
Well, yeah. I've always believed that this wasn't.
Or Leon Black, they mentioned here. He's a billionaire.
I don't think this wasn't. Epstein's evil, but this was not his grand plan. He might have loved it. I think he probably loved. I think he was a pedophile and he loved it. He didn't put this together.
No, it's probably always been there, and it probably goes back to Roy Cohn or something like that. Get this: that we talked about that island. She's taken around in a small prop plane the last time to Epstein's NY. So they're trafficking of cross street lines of stuff. They like to dress them up in like costumes. Brought her there and dressed up special for Black, and even used ribbons in her hair to match her skirt. How sick is that?
Yeah, man. I mean,
and that's the scrapbook we went through. This is why our scrapbook for year 16 at page 15 says, "I ruined their weekend because she was bleeding." Like, I don't want to go in detail, but that's a whole. I don't know what I did with that dumb scrapbook, but I know you don't have time. But this is just additional info. The civil litigation cases are really important, people. That's my conclusion. I know you got to run.
No, you're good. I was gonna say, and I haven't watched Eyes Wide Shut in forever, but they take the girl away at the toy store, and then the last words are, "What we need to do right now is we need to fuck." And I think it's somebody pointed out, it's not my original thought. Somebody pointed out, well, that's pretty clear. Is what they're saying is we got to make another one.
Right. She's
the incubation
breeder.
Goes on. Yeah.
Yeah. So the woman's a breeder. Alice is a breeder. And she's probably the hint that she's in the ritual. Yeah. Because at the very beginning, it's interesting. So he's so smart, dude. But at the very beginning, she drops her skirt or whatever. And
in the same way. Yeah.
Like, Kubrick is just thinking on another level, man. It's just incredible stuff. That's why the shoot was probably a year long. It's like, I got to tie this whole thing together.
That's 1,000% why they killed him.
And like, he did all the editing too. So like, he knows all the whole, he's such an auteur. Like, he knew the whole process and how he wanted to edit it. We are at the 90-minute mark. Tommy, what would you like to add, or anything you'd like to say before we wrap it up?
I'm actually more confident that I'm more convinced that what we've just talked about in the last 5 minutes is why it happened. When you, Dave, and I were talking, I was all over the place. I'm more convinced now that it's actually just like a series of fumbles, and so compartmentalized that no one actually.
They don't know the whole story.
I'll release my part. I was working on a plastic. Yeah, what do I care? And then it all comes out and you realize it's a spy plane. And you go, oh my God. I think
there's also the code of silence, right? There's the code of like being quiet. So if you're one of the abusers, are you in communication with the other abusers all the time? Or you just keep your mouth shut and, I pay my money and the child or, 15-year-old goes somewhere else or something? Like, I don't know, they don't ask a lot of questions, and don't ask a lot of questions because you get in trouble. You know what I mean? So that would also indicate that they don't know how bad it is.
Yeah.
These files are so freaking bad. I cannot imagine what's in the other files. because people can put this together. Like I'm putting this together just through the civil thing, and each one of these attorneys probably don't know because everything's confidential. So the attorneys' names that I just mentioned, they don't know the other attorneys are involved in this stuff. So they themselves, I can assure you, with 100% accuracy, their attorney-client privilege prevents them from sharing any of that information with another attorney. They might whisper it in real secret, which could get them in real trouble if that ever came out. But the likelihood of that for these accomplished, skilled partners at law firms, they would never take that risk. Just to even hear a whiff of it that they're talking too much, you just can't do it. So they're compartmentalized. The lawyers are for sure.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I think I'm more convinced now than ever that that's the explanation or a decent chunk of the explanation.
So the abusers are compartmentalized, the attorneys, the federal government workers are compartmentalized.
And the guys that orchestrated it were probably like, I'm dead and I got my name cleared. They probably made sure their names were burned from the documents. Yeah. Probably have these, and again, not that slander HW and Kissinger, and yeah, but they kind of deserve to be Dick Cheney or placeholders for them. They're good. They probably made sure they were cleared from everything. Right. Yeah, and then
and then they just go and die like Dick Cheney.
They didn't tell the guys below them, hey, you guys are all screwed if this comes out. They don't get the entire MO at that level is backstabbing and survival. They don't care.
Imagine 9/11. Imagine the scenes that went on with 9/11, people trying to survive. And when you were talking about Manhattan Project, I was thinking about the guy in the plane saying, is this real or is this live? You know,
is this real? Is this real world or is this? Yeah.
He's like, was this real world? What's
going on? I'm in the dark.
I'm just up here flying a plane because you told me to, or whatever.
They burned them. They burned the lower guys. Yeah, they burned.
Oh, they do it in a nanosecond too.
Without even blinking. I think that's what it is. And yeah, I mean, at the same time, though, it's like, are you surprised they're raping children? Are you a little surprised that that they don't have your back?
Yeah, really. What's really scary too is this kind of intergenerational incest and child rape stuff that makes you really kind of scared. It reminds me of a Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, where the dad inducts this boy into intergenerational incest and rape and stuff like that. It's really dark. And I think some of that may be happening. Like, son, I just want to let you know I'm a complete piece of shit and I've been raping kids and like prostitutes. And would you like to join me on my escapades, or are we gonna, part ways or something? Like, some of that stuff may really happen. Like, Daddy did it, just like Ramsey's. I'm not saying he did it.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that potential of this kind of intergenerational stuff.
I also think that I really do think the hand of God is active in this.
I hope so.
I really do. You could say, why now? It's also record numbers of people are turning back to God. The younger generations are like insanely like Christian.
Yeah, they really are.
It might be a thing where it's like, I don't know, like maybe God's like, yeah, they've earned it.
I think they saw real evil in COVID and a lot of stuff in their culture, this transgenderism and stuff, and they're like, wow, this is dark. You're trying to get me to become gay, or you're trying to get me to cut my boobs off or something. Yeah. So it's like we didn't have those challenges.
No,
we barely had any gay kids. Like
and we had like somewhat of a carrot. It's like, yeah, the American dream was still kind of alive.
Yeah, no,
they didn't have that. There was no even carrot, and all it was a stick. You're a racist. Cut your balls off.
Yeah,
and they're like, hold on. So I think there's probably a level of, and righteously so, anger that when this stuff comes out, they're like, yeah, burn these mother,
Yeah, the people who took away their dream are these type of people. By the way, Leon Black and Epstein and all these other demons. These are true, literal demons. Happy Fat Tuesday, everybody. This is the beginning of Lent tomorrow. So if you're a Catholic, this is it. So go get what's that cake that they have that they eat in New Orleans? I forgot what the name of it is now. No, they have a special cake they eat in New Orleans, but it's, Catholic tradition. Forgot the name of it. It's the one with all the colors on it. They eat it for Fat Tuesday. A king cake. You ever hear of a king cake? Never heard of a king cake? They have put little things in there. It's buttercream, and they put little like things that you can choke on. Yeah, it's the whole tradition is you're supposed to eat before you fast for a
Yeah,
little while.
yeah.
So it's part of the king cake is part of that tradition. Look it up.
Well,
Tommy, till next time.
yes,
Anything
sir.
you'd like to add? People check it out, Tommy's podcast.
Yeah, check out my
And
podcast
check
on
out our older
YouTube.
shows. Go check out all his work. He's done 2,000 episodes.
Thank you.
And he's got a lot of
absolutely.
great guests that I wish I could have on my show. I gotta kind of
make a list and I'll give them to you.
Okay.
No, I told that to everybody I've got it.
I've had a few of the same guests on my show that you've had on.
Dude, go through.
Watkins, I've had her on.
Yeah, everybody that has a podcast that I go on, I'm like, dude, go through my shows and make a shopping list. 1,000. I can't guarantee they'll come on your show, but I'll 100% put you in touch.
Try it. Yeah.
That's
Tommy. Till next time.
Yeah.
All the best.
Will.
God
Thank
bless.
You so much.
God bless.
Yes,
everybody.
sir. Thank you so much.
Thanks for all the listeners. 320 people joined us, so thanks everybody. Can share the show. Share Tommy's show. All the best.
I will. Take it easy, brother.
Peace.
Peace.
Yep. Peace.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. 3 quick organizations that I try to help through the podcast. I don't take any money from, and I wouldn't if they offered. First and foremost is ARC, the Association for the Recovery of Children. That's led by Basil Baz. It's been around since 1993. They physically liberate sex-trafficked children. They get about 10 to 12 kids a year. I've got a fundraiser thrown for them before. You can go to the link in the description. You can donate. I think as little as $1. It's tax deductible. They are truly doing the Lord's work. This isn't an awareness campaign. This isn't wristbands. They physically go in, kick down doors, and liberate children who are raped daily. They're doing the Lord's work. If you can go help them, you can go give $1. You can also take their training programs and do your best to help spot human trafficking in the world around you. It really is. If there's anything that this podcast accomplishes on this earth, I think it should be to help them. The second group is Invest, like a vest, a bulletproof vest, led by Mike Letts. 25% of police precincts in the United States cannot afford to give and this is true, cannot afford to give their officers cars, weapons, nor vests. They cannot do that. And you can donate as little as $1. They have donated over, I believe, 70,000 bulletproof vests in 30 years. Actually, Invest and ARC were both founded in 1983. Fun fact. And Invest is also doing something that is dovetailing actually with ARC. I put them in touch. BAR, Broken Arrow Ranch, which is to make sure that the kids who are rescued don't fall right back into the traffic system. So ARC, you can go in there and you can help them, and Invest, you can also go in there and help them. And lastly is the Church of the Barbarian Spirit. That's my buddy Clay Martin, Special Forces. It is a group to where Special Forces veterans are helping other Special Forces veterans in unconventional ways, be it fasting, be it psychedelics, be it just face-to-face talking, to reduce suicide rates. And as you guys know, suicide is very near and dear to me. So those are 3 groups that I really think are actively trying to make the world a better place instead of just talking about it. If you guys could just go check them out, go share their links, go do whatever you can. If you can donate, go donate. If not, that's cool too. But, long after I'm dead and long after you guys are gone, I want the lasting impact of this podcast to be something that's genuinely helped the world. So if you guys can go check those out, that would be insanely appreciated. Thank you so much.